Welcome back for Game 3, potentially the final game here. Blaber definitely looking good to make finals so far, as he is up 2-0. Definitely one of the hardest workers in the league. This guy lives and breathes League of Legends. Yeah. Anytime I ever run into him and just randomly say hello, talk about it, he's talking about, oh, I was playing this, so you're trying this, have you seen this build, have you done that, have you watched this game, have you seen this thing? It's just like, it's his life, he lives it, he breathes it, and it's why he's one of the best.
And just also mentioning, I know the C9 fans are going to want to see this rematch. Last year, they brought in JoJo, everyone projected them to just walk away with the whole league. JoJo's at MSI. Blaber's going to want to be there too if they win the next two series. Have to go to the easier
league to qualify though, you know?
I mean, of course.
Come on.
Howard's way out.
Oh my gosh. As we see, Shopify sticking with their Bvoy and Ambassadans coming through. Meanwhile, C9 eliminating. Yeah, the Yone is up.
Yeah,
C9 are picking it.
Was not banned in Game 1, was banned in Game 2. Now it is up again here in Game 3. So Shopify red side, they let it through. Let's see what the answer is from Palafox. Last week, one of his best games he's had all year was actually in response to the APA Ziggs. He brought out the LeBlanc. So I'm going to give him the credit that he clearly has a plan against this, because it just feels like such an obvious one to leave open that you have to have something ready.
Yeah, you kind of have to imagine that both teams have prepared something for it, just because it is one of the most banned picks, as we already covered, against both of these teams. And we see the Aurora being locked in on the Shopify side.
And taking away Rumble to prevent the Rumble-Yone combo. So that's Aurora mid, probably Rumble top, but there's a chance they flex it to support if they really have a counter pick for Fudge. They're going to need a lot of AD and the rest of their team comp from here.
Yeah. We'll see what they end up going with as the Galio hover comes in from C9. As we've already seen Thanatos play this into the Rumble with really, really good success. I thought his Galio game was amazing when we saw it last, I believe. So he's going to be piloting that presumably into the Rumble top. As you said, it could still be flex support, but that's what C9 are expecting, and that's also what I'm expecting.
I wonder if Blaber tries to take away one of the prime AD junglers here, because clearly you have double AP soul laners. You need like a Nefiri or some real AD threat here, and that's also something that Contractz does really like to play. So I wouldn't mind seeing Blaber just take away the Nefiri here, but instead it's going to be the Maokai. So they are very CC heavy here, and what we're already seeing from Shopify just seems like it's a screaming team fight.
Yeah, as we see the Trundle locked in for Contractz.
Triple melee already for C9 into a lot of AoE damage from Shopify, and just the Trundle into, one, a tank jungler in Maokai, and two, just Trundle into Galio has always been really strong. So I feel like Shopify is probably pretty happy with the start of this draft, even if C9 has a lot of engage.
It's going to be interesting to see how he does play it out. You talked about the matchup in the Galio. You can actually interrupt the Justice Punch, the E. That is really nice. And of course, if it is going to be tank Maokai, the ultimate has tremendous value. And a lot of times we do see, even Aftershock Galio, though sometimes players will play Phase Rush. It's kind of been alternating between those just based on personal preference. I'm expecting we would not see Aftershock, given that there's a Trundle on the other side, though.
Probably both of them are going to take Phase Rush just because they're up against Rumble Trundle, the Maokai and the Galio. So affecting their keystones for sure.
So no AD carries have been picked yet, and we're getting a lot of bans towards that. Caitlyn, Jhin, Lucian, Sivir, all taken away, in addition to the Kai'Sa, the Varus, and the Senna, which have already been played. Of course, Ezreal, MF, all kinds of things are still up. Zarya, Philios. You can try to Lucian banned out, but you can try to really limit it. But I do feel like AD carry is one of the most difficult pools to affect, because so many of them do similar things.
Yeah, as we see Corki being removed, and Shopify will have kind of that first rotation onto AD. I fully expect them to pick 4 and then save their support counter pick for R5. So we'll see if C9 want to continue to thin that pool or just take something else out if they do not want to face. And it's the Alistar.
Yeah, so they don't care if Bvoy takes the Ezreal here, even though he'd be pretty elusive for what C9 will be able to throw at them. You also do need a lot of damage to cut through what C9 has here. So Bvoy trying to solve a lot of problems with this pick. Wouldn't be shocked if he just goes with the Ezreal, though.
Yeah, it is something he's super comfortable on. We talked about how he kind of
Kalista.
That's nice too. That is interesting, if only because we kind of talked about how neither of these teams had a super high priority on Kalista, or at least not as high as other teams. And immediately we see that Ezreal Karma coming through, super push heavy lane, should be able to take control of that bot wave.
And poke lanes have been one of the best answers to Kalista, especially here in the LTA North. Earlier on we were seeing a lot of answers of things like Varus, also Ashe even being quite successful. It is going to be Renata, and it is triple melee against that Renata, so the hostile takeover should get a lot of value here and allow Bvoy to play more aggressive, which you definitely need to do because a lot of pressure on him to be that consistent damage here. I do actually quite like the draft from Shopify, I have to say, but there's so much playmaking, so much engage with the top half of the map over for C9.
Yeah, and we've been saying this actually in game 1 and 2, but C9 have been outplaying. They've been finding the engages, they've been pressuring side lanes, and just playing better overall. So it's really going to come down to how Shopify can stand up to the C9 aggression, because I feel like C9 has just found the correct team fight time and time again in both games 1 and 2, and this is an elimination game now for Shopify. They have to win the next 3 if they want to move on.
That, and depending on where they're able to get push on the map, I feel like C9 have done such a good job of following up on that.
Non-subscribers, we will see you in 30 seconds. Shopify have got to begin the comeback now. Game 1, very close. They had a great start. Game 2 was Cloud9 all the way.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see if they are able to recover. They did cite their series against FlyQuest as an indicator of like, okay, we reset our mental, we know how to win games. I do think they have the mentality to be able to recover. These are all very experienced players, and we'll see if they can do it.
All right, we are getting on to the rift here. Shopify Rebellion versus Cloud9. Kia, Cloud9 trying to finish off the sweep here and go back to face off against FlyQuest, where they narrowly lost them last week in a 5-game series. The season-long scoreline also very close between these two teams. FlyQuest just up 1 game overall. I believe it is 6-5 on the year between FlyQuest and Cloud9, as Shopify will invade and get this early ward on the Raptors, which will, of course, be spotted.
Shopify definitely came in as the underdogs with a ton of momentum. Seems like their momentum has been stymied here in the first 2 games.
Interesting to note, Thanatos is going to play Aftershock, so he's still going to play Aftershock, even though it is into the Trundle. Maybe wasn't worried about the interaction or just not thinking about the interaction, but of course, if you do ult during that Aftershock, you are stealing additional resistances, can make you quite tanky, and it is going to be something that Thanatos will have to watch out for.
Yep, as we see early wards going down to be able to track those junglers. Vulcan
is in a lot of trouble. He got handshook very far in. Those spears are stacking. He pops the heal, just get the move speed to be able to walk it out. But it's Contractz on the invade here. Gets nothing as he went to try to steal this away. They had that warded out. Blaber secures the Raptors. He gets level 2, and now Contractz is just going to keep the invade going. Looks like he wants to move in and try to steal away this red. Note that Blaber did use his smite on the last camp, and Contractz did not. But still, doing this in the face of a level 2 Maokai is going to be tough. But right now, Blaber's the one tanking up the red buff, and it's Contractz pushing him back. But Contractz, he needs to finish this, where Blaber just kind of needs to buy time.
Yeah, Blaber needs to buy time, get a few more E's off. I think Contractz does get it, though. Press the attack Trundle is that strong early on, but nice job by Blaber winning the smite, getting all the small ones and getting level 2. Otherwise, that could have been really bad, comboed with the fact that Vulcan couldn't help since he'd been chunked out so early from the original engage.
Yeah, the big thing, I think, is definitely that bot side pressure, right? That Contractz was also able to play against, as you already pointed out. Vulcan was not able to help the invade.
Wasn't able to help the invade. Let's find out how Demonte feels about this series. He's standing by with Raz.
That's right. Tanner, first question for you is like just that early game, level 1 play. Your thoughts on it?
Blaber and Contractz, I think they're pretty similar players, so a lot of stuff always happens early. Thank goodness that we got the red buff there. So I think this is pretty even now. Everything that happened right there, now junglers are going to play out the game pretty evenly. Maybe something is going to happen in the topside jungle, but we'll see. Looks like Contractz might be going for something crazy.
And a quick question before I send you off is like, what's something that you tell, you know what, for now we're just going to send this one straight back to the caster so they can cover this one.
Contractz going for Vulcan.
something
Vulcan
crazy.
flashes away, but he's going to get pillared back, and it's going to be first blood grabbed there by Contractz, but they are not satisfied with that. They're trying to finish off Zven. Zven does not flash the spear. Spear rend, torn in half. It's 2 kills for Shopify.
And why was that crazy? It's because that entire side of the jungle was empty. The counter jungle is there. If that doesn't work, Contractz is gambling the game on it, but he gets the double kill and it pays off.
And this is what makes him such an interesting jungler,
man.
right? Is like the fact that he is willing to play this risky and also, again, make the most of this Kalista Renata bot lane being able to chunk down the Ezreal and the Karma.
And look at mid lane, a 10 CS lead in isolation already for Palafox.
Can you pillar? I can catch.
Here's that.
I look at her. No barrier.
Oh, that's all I got. Nice job, guys.
Nice.
Okay, Maokai is going to be here. If you can...
Well, it's Loki now trading heavily here with Palafox. Palafox is going to have to try to jump back. The Q3 narrowly misses there. I don't think he would have killed him because Palafox leveled up right as he went for it to 5 there. So Palafox extending this advantage. It does have to go back to base pretty soon with his mana, though.
Yeah, Palafox going to want to have a good game here. This reminds me a bit of LeBlanc into Ziggs, where there's a pick you know the other guy has a preference for. You leave it up, and you're ready with your counter pick. So he needs to perform to not only win this game, but also keep Shopify's season alive.
Yeah, Loki going to be able to send him back to base. Palafox winning out in the trades, but just out of mana. The Fleet Footwork doing its work here, being able to sustain up enough. And of course, you are resourceless on the Yone, so going to be able to keep this push going. Palafox, though, going to be happy with how things went, and after he collects this wave, should be up, a good 9-10 CS and in a pretty solid position here.
Yeah, and Shopify are out to like a little tiny 1K gold lead off of kind of Contractz plus bot lane early machinations. I think they have done a really good job playing around this lane, but as you already pointed out, this was Loki's game from last game. He had a phenomenal game, so shutting him down is going to be key.
Seoul's in trouble, going to have to flash the tether there. Had he been rooted up, he would have definitely gone down. Blaber elected not to flash for the Twisted Advance there, just happy to take the Summoner spell and allow them to walk it out.
Now, Contractz here as well.
This is Palafox. Palafox is moving down. They're going to try to pillar him in. Might have to just flash out. He's going to try to proc the phase rush and run to safety. Can Palafox actually close the gap? He cannot, because Blaber uses his own flash.
Contract's just been so active, but hasn't really been farming. So he's a level 4 Trundle. 6 minutes into the game. Doesn't have jungle camps either. And they're going to forego starting this Drake because the mid wave is there. They really need to make sure Loki doesn't get out of hand like he did last game.
And Loki's kind of rotating down, going to clear out this ward after pushing in that wave. And yeah, I think Palafox, again, having the Yone locked in, being like, okay, I have this Aurora counter, definitely shades of that Ziggs LeBlanc matchup. And then going forward, we'll see how important it is for them to keep this Yone down as...
Blaber has no flash. He's going to get pillared in. The Equalizer doing some work. In comes Galio to try to bail him out, but Fudge is there to cook him up. That tree's going to get burned down. They get the Galio ultimate too. They are going to be so happy with that.
And the kill going over to Fudge is just the gravy on top. Contractz so active, so effective in this game 3.
And if you're loving this finals weekend and can't wait for the next one, tickets are already on sale for the LTA Championship driven by Kia for next split. Join us in Dallas this September to watch the first ever LTA Championship. Visit Ticketmaster to get yours now. Those live events are a lot of fun. Definitely don't want to miss out on this one. Last time we went to Texas was the Danny Pentakill. Might have another moment like that, and you don't want to miss it.
September 27th, 28th, going to be very exciting. Shopify, though, 1.6 thousand gold lead. They did have a similar lead in game 1, but overforced in that one. Really love their setup in this game, though, with the Rumble and Trundle burning down the triple melee. They also have the Kalista Renata not getting pushed in by the Ezreal Karma. All the little gambits the Contractz has tried to do in this game. Even though the very first one didn't work, he just kept trying. The rest of them have worked and really put Shopify in a good position.
And while they don't really have, hard engage, they do have, the Aurora ultimate for slow. You get pillared in. There's the Equalizer coming over top. There's hostile takeover. There's all of these AoE tools that are going to be really difficult to deal with, especially because there are triple melee over on the C9 side. I think they're going to want to try to disengage the initial engage, utilize the Maokai ultimate, utilize, Mantra shields here from the Karma try to absorb that engage, and then I think in the extended fight, they definitely could take over. So we'll see if they're able to pull that off, as it is Contractz starting up the Dragon here. Blaber is in the area doing his red buff, but it does not look like they're going to want to contest this, as the Kalista Spears definitely stacking up, and Blaber's just overdoing Krugs. Oh, they're going to look for an engage now, though, onto Loki. Loki in a lot of trouble. Electrocute does proc. Has to use the Fated Seal just to retreat back to his turret. It is a 1-for-1 ultimate trade, but it's Fudge now moving in, trying to threaten a dive here, and they're going to look for an engage now. Bvoy flashes forward, but Blaber is here. Bvoy now could be in some trouble. He's going to get blocked up at the True Shot Barrage, connects on multiple members. Contractz now trying to turn this around. There's the hostile takeover, it only connects on to Blaber, but it's going to be Contractz getting knocked down, and now Seoul is in a lot of trouble. C9 are crushing this fight. It is a 3-for-0 off the attempted gank from Contractz.
And that's exactly, as we see, Fudge and Thanatos is going to actually have to flash out of this top side. But that's exactly what you were talking about, Azael, right? Where they kind of wait for them to go in, and then Blaber's there with the Maokai ultimate. They're able to absorb that pressure and then return it twofold.
What a turn here by C9. I mean, with the Kalista Renata, you know they're going to be looking to get aggressive, and Blaber is here for the counter gank. Since the Kalista flashed early, there's no true escape from this Maokai ultimate. He actually ends up getting rooted anyway, so they can't properly block the Maokai ultimate. The Renata ult ends up missing Zven and Vulcan, so it is pretty ineffective. That is the turn that C9 needed to take control of this game.
Yes, Zven going untouched in that was massive.
Kalista, Kalista. Nice.
Nice.
Calling out some plays. And that, to me, looked like Blaber just read that play exactly again, because they knew he was on the Dragon. As soon as their Dragon died, he finished Krugs, and he just went and stood behind his bot lane. And Vulcan then walks up like he's playing almost a little bit stupid. Oh, I'm too far up. They engage in onto him. He flashes it, and the turnaround is perfect. That's a 3-for-0 that absolutely destroys the pressure this bot lane had, because not only did they go 0-for-3, Bvoy used both his summoners to do it.
Yeah, use both the summers, and now, look, the gold lead is in C9's favor. They're actually able to swap their bot to this top side, get control to take down those grubs as well. What a massive, massive turnaround from C9.
And actually just had it confirmed by the producers. Blaber did actually call the play again, just like last game. He predicted that the play was going to happen. He called that it was going to happen and is there to respond. So definitely a great read on the game. And it is going to be tank Galio, so it is going to be Blaber going for AP. He does have the Leandries being worked towards, and you can see Zven already with the Triforce in a great spot off of that.
Absolutely, and I also just want to call out the MR item completion already by Thanatos. This is another reason the Galio is so good into the Rumble and Aurora, because it's good into both of the side lane matchups that he would need to play against. What I sometimes see in these situations is the Kalista, rather than setting up on mid, will try and set up on the side lane, but you need to be very far ahead to do that. Another reason that triple kill was so devastating for Shopify.
Yep, and as we see, both bot lanes just kind of trying to push out this mid wave. But yeah, that was, we can't underscore how important that was for C9 to be able to turn this around, right? Because up until that point, Shopify had done a really, really good job of playing around this Kalista Renata lane, and Contractz in particular had done a really good job of recognizing where he could be on the map early.
And it's even more devastating when you consider there's not really a fallback plan for Shopify's comp, right? Like their comp only kind of does one thing. It is engage. You don't want to play a long, slow game when it's going to be Yone in a side lane that is going to be so difficult to actually match after 1 or 2 items, and he has the backup of Thanatos potentially there. You know, they have, I think, a pretty heavy scaling advantage, and Blaber just going to use the ultimate here to lock up Bvoy. Bvoy in a lot of trouble, doesn't quite get finished off there by Zven, but the tower does take some damage as well. Now the heal going to be used, and flashes will be traded as Seos look for the heal flash handshake. Zven flashes away.
Flashes will be traded, but look on the bot side, right? Like, Loki has quietly been able to push that up, kind of getting, Aurora was getting the best of him earlier on in lane, but now he's able to get some side wave farm. C9 are able to push back up, get more plate damage onto this mid-tier 1. They're really, really taking over the game, and now they're almost up to a 1.5k gold lead.
Yep, good grub pressure will likely group before this next Drake as well. Cloud9 has had such good control of the Drakes throughout all of these games, and it's going to be made easier by the fact that they're pushing these side lanes so effectively. And yeah, Thanatos' Galio right now is just too much for these magic damage side laners to deal with.
And Palafox just came back from base. He just walked all the way back, bought his Leandries, then loses all of his health there as Thanatos just surprises him out of that side brush. So Palafox now in a bit of a tricky spot because when those cooldowns come back up, you could just die in the next combo here to Thanatos.
Yeah, and you'd underlined how crucial it's going to be for C9 to kind of set Thanatos up as this huge pain point for Shopify in these side lanes because he is itemized to go up against either the Rumble or the Aurora.
And it looks like he's going towards potentially a Seeker's second here, maybe going to be going for a bit of playmaking. Does have the cloth armor, has that Amp Tome as well. We'll be interrupted on the recall. Fudge should be able to collect this wave as Shopify trying to get some vision back around this dragon. They don't want to allow Cloud9 to just continue grabbing these objectives.
Yeah.
They are moving in, but there is the Fate of Steel coming across multiple members. Bvoy going in aggressive. Contractz already down. Bvoy trying to get in there, trying to make a kill happen, but he's not going to be able to get it. The bailout expires. The equalizer is good, but it is not good enough. As on the other side, Loki kills another. It's a double for the C9 mid laner, and we saw how that looked last game.
And C9 has been so decisive around Drake fights. That's the biggest difference I've seen from them. It's also incredibly difficult to move through a Leandry's Maokai and retake a zone. You see why there. They just one-shot them.
Again. Barely able to get out of the tether range. Palafox looking here, but doesn't even have the damage. Going to pop the ulti. Doesn't connect the twofold Hex there onto Vulcan. Can only hit him with the weirding. Can't actually get it. Fist bump. Got out. Good job, bro.
Nice. I thought Fudge was dead there, to be honest. I thought they would be able to get in on him with poke damage. But again, the decisiveness from C9 that you point out, not just in the fight setups, but also in what they're able to get out of it, right? They seem to have a really, really clear idea of where they want to set up on the map immediately after winning these fights and skirmishes.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the AD carry itemization, it's starting to feel a little bit rough. Bvoy has been flashing so aggressively, trying to make kills happen. He flashed in the 0-for-3 bot lane where he was trying to set up that play. He flashed after Zven, trying to make something happen here, and he still does not yet have that Blade of the Rune King, likely going back to base to buy it, but still, he is way behind the curve here against this Ezreal, and Kalista needs to be ahead because you need to be able to be in the mix, especially when there's this much CC, this much lockdown across all these melee champions. It is really tough. He needs not only his damage items like the Rage Blade, but he needs to get to the eventual Jack show and things like this to be able to actually survive and not just get 100-0 to the Maokai W.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tough for him, especially since Zven has done... he has had the Triforce for so long and has been able to do so much with it. It feels pretty bad to be in Bvoy's position right now, and now every single gold lead has ticked over towards C9 side with the vast majority of it coming out of that bot lane.
Yeah, Zven actually has 7,000 gold in this game, which is 1,000 more than anybody else on the entire map. No one else is over 6,000 yet, so Zven really able to take control of this game. And it's interesting because the side lanes are what's been so dominant in the setup, but then Zven has been able to actually push through the mid lane as well. So there's no lanes for Shopify to play through. On top of that, the AP Maokai saplings make it even more difficult for Shopify to retake. We know Shopify needs to send it, but it's just so hard to do so in this situation.
And I love seeing stuff like this from Blaber, right? Because you can tell he's waiting there. He can send the ult to completely zone them off if he needs it, but he doesn't even need to do so. And then meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, Galio just took down the bot side tier 1. Loki is going to be able to chew through this turret soon. C9 are winning all over the map.
And just like that, they are now 5,000 gold ahead. And let's talk about this C9 playoffs timeline. Obviously, had dominated. If you go back even further, it was even more dominant. They've been making so many finals, winning so many trophies. It's been a bit of a dry spell for them, and they have, shifted through a couple different rosters to now end on this one, where it feels like they're starting to return to their former form.
They're already doing better than the last few splits. If they win this, guaranteed top 2, hopefully top 1, and Loki is just destroying people.
Yeah, Loki almost kills Fudge there, and that is problematic. Now Vulcan looking for Contractz. He's going to get tethered up, and in comes the Maokai CC. Loki, though, backing off as Seoul's going to get thrown in. True Shot Barrage connects on multiple members. There's the hostile takeover. not looking that hostile. It's kind of looking friendly, honestly, as Zven going to face check Palafox. Does lose half his health for his efforts and will have to back off.
Loki's not, or Thanatos is not even here. He's Galio pushing the top lane, while C9 is also pushing them out the bot side.
Yeah. Oh.
Blaber going to be going in with the blast cone. Blaber has to flash out to safety, though. Was very aggressive. Now in comes the Galio TP. Is he going to go for it? Doesn't have to, as Loki gets the kill on his own. Fudge is behind him, but he's going to get found out here by Thanatos. Equalizer drop behind them, but didn't even have to fight through it. On the other side, it's going to be Blaber and Thanatos winning this fight out against Fudge. We have to see the top side, though, as Zven is on a rampage. Zven gets a kill off of screen. Thanatos and Blaber do combine to kill one more. Cloud9 winning on both sides, and the Herald is going to get driven into the inhibitor tower here. Nope, he's going to take a little drift for the mid lane tier 2 instead. They're getting so much value out of this push. Non-stop kills, non-stop action, everything going C9's way.
Absolutely phenomenal map play from C9, and also just really aggressive skirmishing.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out Thanatos, who I think throughout this entire series has done a great job of marking Fudge when he's able to come in, or marking Seos when he needed to in prior games. The equalizer goes across here, and watch Loki coming in. Okay, yeah, and then Zven just does the damage on the top side. They're able to crash the Herald in, and meanwhile, behind them, we did see that play out with...
Oh, maybe I'm dead. Oh, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Could have given the kill back. That would have been the most tragic thing, but they are so far ahead in this game now after they're winning the front and the back of all these team fights. Objective bounties already turned on now, pre-20 minutes. So that would be Shopify's last attempt. Like, start sending it on these side lanes. Maybe they can get an objective bounty to get a little bit back in the game.
Oh, they're going to get spotted out by the True Shot Barrage, though. And then you're looking at Loki's itemization. He has the shield bow. Zonius is done in top lane. Who are you supposed to kill? Like, that is the problem, is you're kind of running out of targets here very quickly. Sure, you can try to go for the Ezreal, but he's got a Karma, he's got a Flash, Barry, he has so much mobility. So it is going to be very difficult now for Shopify. They need to find an angle for a perfect engage, but when you're playing this style of comp that doesn't have true hard engage, it is so tough.
You see Contractz maybe trying to find something here, but again, they just have so much map pressure on this side too, off of that play and that fight in bot that we just covered. They were able to get that Drake completely uncontested, and now they're on the Otacon, two-manning it, while Zven and Vulcan are here in mid lane, and Thanatos is holding off Fudge.
Oh, Zven is posturing very aggressively, will have to drop the barrier, and they get Thanatos' ult, but in the meantime, they took down Otacon with that two-member squad. The lead just gets even further ahead now for Cloud9. 36 of those flowers have been picked.
Zoning
Looking with the Maokai ult. Won't find too much. Bvoy does get connected on. Thanatos is going to get behind him, and Bvoy may have to flash now. He doesn't actually react to it. There's a cleanse, there's a flash. It just doesn't even matter. True Shot Barrage plus Loki is enough to get the job done. And now Seos is going to be spotted. Palafox is sent running. Everyone is scattering for the hills, but there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. Cloud9 is coming for this sweep.
This Maokai coming out of Blaber is so aggressive. I've absolutely loved his setups. I've loved the way he plays this. The rest of the team is following up so well whenever he's able to snag a member of Shopify. What a fun game to watch from Blaber.
Blaber wants to go back to the international stage. The last time they won in LCS, he always talked about how good his Maokai was, so he's returning to that comfort right here. C9 just looks so organized. That's the thing that stands out to me, and they're seeing these plays so well in advance.
This could be a final attempt at a play here. Fudge is going to TP and does have his second item. Contractz very ahead of the play, though. The equalizer does drop down. Contractz is going to fall. You can see Thanatos getting incredibly low. Goes into the stasis, though, as they get a kill onto Palafox. Bvoy has now arrived, but Loki is there with him. Loki is tanking up the tower. Loki is going to have to snap back into that tower eventually here. Fudge on the other side is going to get a kill. The bailout is there. Can he get the shutdown? He does get one. It is a reset, but it's not quite enough. They kill off Loki, though, as he snapped back into the tower. It is Zven and Vulcan very low. Thanatos TPing back in to join the team. Will they look for another aggressive play? Looks like not yet.
Loki lost his mind there. And he also took Blaber with him because Blaber tried to tank the turret at the back end of that fight to prevent him from the snapback. The overall look was okay, and they still get enough kills that Shopify doesn't gain a huge amount of gold from this, but this is just C9 just getting a little too aggressive at this stage in the game.
Yeah, this TP that's about to come in from Loki off the back half, and immediately, like, it looks like a really great setup, right? Because Contractz goes down, even with the equalizer going down, they're able to get Palafox, but then, he goes to Bvoy. He's going to take so many turret shots, gets hand shook, not a little bit over aggressive.
Just a bit.
It's fine.
Maybe a lot of it.
Yeah.
I need to catch bot though, guys.
Oh, we're fine. We don't need you.
Okay. Then
Oh, Trundle here, son.
Aurora mana both, but I have mentor shield.
Yeah, Aurora door.
We're fine, we don't need you. As he teleports into his death.
Zven now fighting here with Contractz, very unafraid. Thanatos coming on the side now. It's going to be Contractz taunted up as Bvoy is locked down. He's got no summoners this time, no way out. You can see that Maokai root connects into the back line, and there's Loki with the follow-up. They get a second. Seos is down, and Fudge is sure to follow. He is overheated, and he is dead. Contractz trying to hide here from Vulcan. Will get spotted now, though, as Contractz going to be able to get rooted up. Does pillar out Thanatos, so it's just Vulcan in 1v1 right now. Going to be chasing him down, though. You just can't get away from the tethers. The CC just doesn't ever end. Zven goes godlike. It's 18-6. It's an 11K gold lead, and Cloud9 are already in the base.
Yeah, I was gonna say, meanwhile, Blaber and Loki are just tearing apart their base, right? They're gonna be able to take down this mid-inhib turret, mid-inhib soon to follow. C9 just cleaning up everywhere.
They really are. They're looking to put this Shopify Cinderella run to rest, and this split 2 has really been about C9 and FlyQuest. They both won their group. They played that best of 3 to see who would be the 1 and 2 seed. They dispatched of their opponents in the first round of the upper bracket. They then went to 5 games in the winner bracket final, and it's looking like they're on a collision course to play yet another series.
Yeah, and they were both 1 and 2 in the positioning phase as well. It was a 2-1 series back in split 1 between them. It has been back and forth, non-stop. It has felt like these two teams definitely have been very close. Shopify trying to stay alive, but it's going to take a miracle at this point. They need a reverse sweep, and it's going to have to start with a Baron steal, you have to think. Contractz has no flash, though he does have the tied record for most Baron steals. It's going to be a difficult approach, and this one is going down very quickly. They see Contractz now, and Zven's just going to go over the wall right for him. Loki as well, in on Fudge. Fudge is taunted up, and he's going to be knocked down. Contractz is sure to follow. Zven legendary once more here. It's Blaber still in the pit, and it's Loki on the side here. Going to get some assistance from Thanatos. Palafox on the run, and so is the bot lane on the other side. Thanatos cannot connect with the taunt, but in goes Loki, and Loki with the soul unbound is looking to take down Bvoy. Bvoy down incredibly low, can't get the reset, and Thanatos will not stop. There's the tether, and here comes the ace. It's all done but the crying. Cloud9 march on the Nexus. They will not be stopped in the lower bracket. They dominate Shopify in games 2 and 3. 15,000 the gold lead. 23-6 is the kill score. Cloud9 are coming for that rematch. FlyQuest better be ready.
Blaber said he wanted to return to international competition. He's 1 series away from qualifying for MSI. What a statement victory